Hi guys and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here with my deck of panning updates. I am gonna go through the 5 products that I'm working on in this project, and if you're new to this project, this was created by Emilynmax here on YouTube, and she was inspired by Books with Maddie, I believe, who created this kind of idea for her TBR, so basically for deciding what book to read next, and Emily took that idea and created a project plan out of it, and that is how this project was born. But before I jump into any of the projects, if you're new here, please consider subscribing. I would love to have you in the family. Let's jump into the video. So the first product, which is the one that has been in here the longest, is my Stila Glitter and Glow in Smoldering Satin. This I rolled in for something glittery, and this is obviously a glittery product. It's not glitter itself, but it is like a really sparkly kind of topper shade. Mine has started drying out quite a bit, so I'm currently housing it in this Colourpop Super Shock container, and yeah, that's how we're working on it. My goal with this is to finish it, and this is what it looked like last month. Since then I have reached for this 5 additional times, and this is what it looks like today. I need to be careful because the pan is actually loose in this eyeshadow now, so it's kind of, you know, it's easy to fall out, but that is what it looks like now. You're gonna see it better in the pictures, but I have used this quite a bit and I'm definitely expanding the pan. I still think I probably have like, you know, 10-15 more uses in this left to go at least, so it's gonna take quite a while until I finish it, but I'm hoping to maybe finish it in the next 2 months, hopefully. We'll see how it goes and how I do with other eyeshadows that I'm working on, but I'm really happy with the progress that I have on this eyeshadow. The next product that I rolled in for my pet chooses my item, and yeah, for that I rolled in my Super Shock shadow from Colourpop in the shade GGAF. I basically put out 4 different Super Shock shadows for my dog to pick from, and she decided to go with this one. I put in a very lofty goal of reaching for this 30 times, and so far in the past 2 months I had reached for this 5 times, and in the past month I reached for it an additional 3 times. So I am still moving quite slowly with this one, but I do have 8 uses total on it now. Yeah, I don't think there's going to be much movement in the picture, but I can definitely tell the dip is getting bigger around the actual pan, and you know, I think I might be able to use this a bit more next month. I'm hoping to maybe get more like 10 uses in the next month. We'll see how I do and if I'm able to do that, but I am really close to finishing up another Super Shock shadow that I'm working on, and once that's done I think I'm gonna hone in on this one so I can roll this one out of the project, because this has been in here for 3 months now, and if I continue at this rate it's not gonna roll it out before the end of the year, so fingers crossed I can get some more use on this in the next month. The next product that I have is a blush, and I did roll this in for the prompt a blush, and that is my Nars Gina blush. I roll in one of my favorite blushes, especially for summer, because I'm already panning a lot of blushes, and I didn't, you know, I didn't want to roll in something that would be a hassle to use, and therefore I rolled in this item because I do really enjoy wearing it. Last month I didn't actually reach for this at all because I was so focused on finishing a blush in my rolling project pan, and I was able to do so last month, so I have actually reached for this 6 times in the past month, and this is what it looks like now. You're not going to be able to see any difference in this blush at all because it's very tightly pressed, and I don't think there's going to be even a dip in this before I roll it out, but my goal with this is to reach for 20 times, so I do have quite a way to go, but at least I have now reached for 6 times. The next 2 products were both rolled in last month, and the first one comes from Nars again, and this is actually an eyeshadow duo in the shade Alhambra. This is what this one looked like last month. I already had pan on one of the items, which is the lighter shade, and my goal with this was to reach for each shade 10 times, and I'm happy to say that I was able to do so. I have now reached for each eyeshadow 10 times, and actually reached for these mainly as face highlighters. They worked really well as face highlighters, and this has been something that I was considering decluttering because it's not really, these aren't really impactful enough for me to reach for as eyeshadows. But I'm now considering actually panning these as highlighters, not this year but maybe next year, because I do really love them that way and they worked really well. But since I did reach for each shadow 10 times, I will be rolling this out and I will be rolling in something new in its place. Then for the final kind of product, I've had something in for the last, I think 3 months back to back. I've had palettes in for like the kind of no pan left behind style, which has been really fun. And this last month I rolled in something for autumnal, I think, or you know, something that reminds you of autumn. And I decided to go with my Natasha denona Metropolis palette because this to me is like the most autumnal palette of all time. And again, my goal with this was to reach for each shadow once, and I'm happy to say that I have done that. I've actually reached for a couple shades more than that. I definitely reached for Queen quite a lot as an icon highlight. I do have a little bit of a dip in this one now, which is nice to see. I also reached for another few shades a couple times, like some of the kind of cartoon shades. and some of that is, I can't remember, I have it on my phone, but I think, yeah, I'm not going to go for every single shade and how much I use them, but I'm happy to have gotten some use out of this palette, and I'm also happy to have reached for every single shade in this palette. I'm sure this is a palette that I will reach for more again in the upcoming months when we do hit fall, but yeah, I'm happy to be able to roll this one out as well, and I'm gonna roll in something else again in this place. So, since I hit goal on 2 items, which is the Metropolis palette and the Alhambra duo from Nars, I'm going to go ahead and pick 2 new cards. I'm going to go ahead and shuffle my deck first, and then we're going to pick 2 new cards that will correspond to 2 new prompts. So I do have the game board down below, and I'm just going to pull 2 cards. I always pull from the top, but I'm going to cut the deck first so that I know that I'm not cheating. And we're going to go ahead and pick the first card, which is going to be 10 of clubs. So that's going to be the first card. And 10 of clubs corresponds to the out of control category, which I definitely know what I'm going to pick for that. It's going to be something similar to what I've done for the last couple of months, hint hint. But that's going to be the first item. Then the second card I'm going to pick is going to be, what's that, 6 of diamonds? Yeah, 6 of diamonds. So that's going to be the second card, and 6 of diamonds is going to be already has pan. Okay. That's interesting. We'll see what I pick for those 2, but I'm gonna go ahead and pick 2 new items, and I will be right back. Okay, so I'm back with my 2 new items. I guess it's more than 2, what you're gonna see when I talk about it. So we're gonna start with the first one, which is out of control category, and for that I decided to roll in some of my single eyeshadows, because I was thinking that eyeshadows is definitely something that is out of control in my collection. And originally I was gonna roll in something for like no pan left behind kind of style in my palettes, and that's what I meant with like something similar to what I've done before. But when I rolled in the other prompt, which was something that already has pan, I kind of rethought a bit of how I want to do it, and I decided to roll in my singles, more specifically my Terra Moon singles. So my Terra Moon singles are currently mainly housed in this palette here. These are majority of them, you can see them right there. So that's the first kind of palette I'm going to work on, and then we also have a couple in this little palette that couldn't fit elsewhere, so it's the first, like the top 4 shadows right there. So those are all my Terra Moon's eyeshadows, and what I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to roll these in with like no pan left behind kind of style. I want to reach for every single one of these eyeshadows once. It's quite a few eyeshadows. I'm going to count them quickly because I think it's going to be quite a lofty goal, but I just want to get more use out of my singles, and I think this is going to be a really good way of doing it. So I'm going to count them all out and yeah, see how many I have to use. So I counted them all out, and it's 31 eyeshadows in total, so quite a lot, but I think I can do it. And these are really nice special shades, so I'm excited to reach for them. And I think it is going to be quite nice to incorporate them into different looks, especially these shimmers here are absolutely stunning. And the color format will be fun to play with as well, especially before we go into the autumn months, because these are more kind of spring and summery colors. So that is going to be the first product that I roll in. So for the next prompt, which is something that already has pan, I kind of spun this prompt a little bit in a way that I make it work for me, and I decided to roll in a palette that already has pan, and that is the one I went with was my Club Nebula palette from Kaleidos in collaboration with Angelica Nyqvist. So this is what the palette looks like. It's absolutely stunning, and I currently have 2 pans in here, so already have pan, works for this prompt. And originally I was going to roll this in again for no pan left behind, and I probably will try to use this no pan left behind, but I decided to instead, because I want to switch up the goals a bit in this project, what I decided to do instead is I'm going to roll this in with the goal of hitting 1 more pan. So I want to hit 1 more pan in this palette, and I think it's probably going to be very likely to be one of the kind of shimmer shades here on the side, so one of these 4 right here. I think that's going to be more likely, because the mattes in here are definitely more firm press, and I think that's going to take longer to do. So I think I'm going to focus on one of those shimmers and see which one I can pan on first, but I'm going to use it kind of organically and reach for the other shades in here as I want, and hopefully I will decide pretty quickly which one I want to pan on. And since the pans in here are a bit more shallow, I think I should be able to hopefully pan on something in here by next month, but again, we'll see how it goes. So that is the new products I'm rolling into this project, and with that I'm going to wrap up this video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to check out Emily, link down below, as well as the playlist with everyone else who is participating. But yeah, that is it for today. I hope you're having a lovely day, and I will catch you in my next one. Bye guys.